I saw you in the smoky room, babe. You were a Burberry tank, some dark black pants. Cause you were so fine that I got paralyzed when I looked you in the eyes. How do we end up here tonight? We just shots of tequila, you started Mula Selena, we moving side to side. Ariana style, girl. Till you turned around and looked at me with those dark, dark eyes. And I couldn't resist, girl. So I kissed you instantly. On the spotlight, around the dance floor we stood. I'm addicted to you tonight. The story is written for you and I. You stole my heart right away that night. Under the stars above the sky. I'm addicted to you tonight. The story is written for you and I. You stole my heart right away that night. Under the stars above the sky. I'm a We left the club around 3 to go back to my place. We jumped in the cab and rode along for an hour or so. When we got home, we lay in the couch all night long till we both passed out with your hand in mine. We just a shot of tequila, you started Mula Selena, we moving side to side. Ariana style, girl. Till you turned around and looked at me with those dark, dark eyes. And I couldn't resist, girl. So I kissed you instantly. On the spotlight, around the dance floor we stood. I'm addicted to you tonight. The story is written for you and I. You stole my heart right away that night. Under the stars above the sky. I'm addicted to you tonight. The story is written for you and I. You stole my heart right away that night. Under the stars above the sky. I'm a
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 2 of the Pretender Pod. It's me, Puppy, and I'm here with my buddy.
Oh, okay. It's my turn to finish the sentence. Hey, it's me, Forrest. How's it going? It's been it's been a week. It's been a really exciting, explosive week for a lot of teams, and I'm really excited to really get down to the nitty gritty of it. How's your week been, Pup?
Good, yes. Up and down. I've had a lot of things to do. Obviously, getting ready for going away in sort of December and stuff like that. Very busy with different stuff, like doing some VOD reviews actually, which is a little bit different for me. So, which you've experienced firsthand. So, what about yourself? How have you found it?
Yeah, and honestly, like, take advantage of this man's VOD reviews. They're really good. I've been good. My outfit is a little bit flashier than normal. Why? Because it is Diwali. I'm Indian, and so we celebrate Diwali this week or the week before. So here I am, sort of repping my own nation pride. Happy Diwali to everyone. And of course, getting ready for just the holiday season. You know, Thanksgiving's coming up, which we do have 2 weeks for. To do our week 3 matches. We have, Christmas coming up, which I've heard that some, teams are considering doing meetups. So that'll be really fun. But yeah, so enough about that. My week's been good. So let's just get straight into it. Pups, what are we covering today?
Today, so what we got on the agenda, I'll just bring it up, hence you can see my face is now lit up bright. We have... Obviously, it's going to run very similar to the way that it did last week, with everything to do with sort of the week's goings on. So everything to do with the results, any roster changes that we found, which I don't think there's been too many. Teams to watch out for, and then kind of go through sort of some of the news, some of the stuff about the Ascenders Cup, which has been really good. If you haven't seen the VOD for that,
been really fun.
Yeah, really good. So if you haven't seen any of that, then be sure to check out the VODs and that. So good plays of that week. Sort of any of the plays that you guys have submitted to us. We tried to kind of like after last week we had a lot of sort of feedback to do with the podcast, so we kind of made some adjustments to that as well. We'll try and sort of represent each team as much as possible, but we need your help to make sure those those clips are submitted, so that we can actually play them for you guys and have a look at them and get you guys that exposure that you so deservedly want.
Of course.
So yes, and then we go on to sort of any changes to do with the meta, anything like that, any interesting facts that we come across to do with that. And then we have a couple of obviously special guests as well. We have some interviews to do, so we've got do you want to introduce a couple of the ones that we have?
Yeah. So we have Moshi Man coming up really soon, just to talk about just sort of like the plays that that we've seen, that we've picked out, and how a caster would sort of attack those same things. Casting, of course, a really big part of Pretenders, and just making sure you're taking so much information, knowing the game at such a fundamental level, and really in many ways marketing, and also like telling their audience who also plays this game sort of a bit of more of the nuances. And so we're going to be talking to Moshi Man about sort of the difficulties of what it's like to be a caster, as well as maybe some unique challenges and fun, and just any tips he has for aspiring casters. In addition, we also have Dazzy over from Skyhounds here to talk a little bit, a little later about, where the team's at right now. There's been a lot of roster changes right there, how their journey is going. They recently had 3 pickups, to my knowledge, in Golgi, Rhombus, and Smile. And so, just how they did, how they're feeling, what lessons they took from previous games, and so on. And we have Noir over from Nova here to talk about Nova's game against Suya, which unfortunately the VOD was lost to the sands of time. So that's gonna be a little unfortunate. But nonetheless, we do have these first-hand experience that's gonna be coming up soon. So it's something I'm really excited for. Well, let's get straight into it. Yeah. How have the week 2 results been, Pups?
So week 2 results, we can jump ahead straight into that one and show you guys exactly what we're looking at here. We've done some more graphics. That was a little bit last minute, so apologies for the sort of delay in the stream, but this was kind of down to us to kind of sorting a few last things out. So bear with us. So with the season starting sort of only 2 weeks ago, we have kind of been fiddling about with some of the different plays. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure this out. We were meant to have a streamer with us today, but unfortunately we weren't able to get that, so I'm kind of juggling these two things.
In the meanwhile, I'll have a conversation with everyone. Hey, 14 extremely beautiful people in chat. How's it going? Is that some traditional Indian clothing? Yeah, dude, you got it. Here, I'll stand up. Oh, well, just caught my my headphones. Look at this wonderful embroidered situation. It's good. It's good stuff. Yeah, happy the belly, Saskia.
Here we go. So week 2 results. We'll do the exact same as we did last week. I'll go for the first 3: Breakthrough and Toxic Storm. A 4-0 for Toxic Storm against Breakthrough, which is against kind of what a lot of us thought would happen, but nonetheless, a fantastic result for those guys out there in Toxic Storm. Lightbringers 3-1 against Skyhounds. Alpine Wolves taking the 4-0 against Mercury Cougars. And 4 days of
and then Action News Team taking 3-1 over Night Ops Nova with another 3-1 over Suia, and Mild Esports and Seven Sins is actually going to be today, right? So if if you want to cheer on your favorite cultists or your favorite Mild Esporters, today's going to be the day to do it. And I believe it's going to be at 8 EST, but don't take my word for that. Go check out the official, Discord for when that's going to be happening. And yeah, this right here. I have a lot to say about this. I feel like the 4-0 of Toxic Storm over Breakthrough is so exciting. That's their second 4-0 this season. Right now, they're running at a map differential of +8, and I feel like a lot of people were sleeping on them here in the off season.
Definitely.
And just for them to, almost be like, you know what, we're gonna prove to you guys that we're gonna come back with a vengeance. And honestly, the results speak for themselves. And like Skyhounds and like Lightbringers, like that was a really, really fun game. There are VODs somewhere around here. Like, go watch it. I'm always very, very impressed with Lightbringers DPS. But for Skyhounds, there was a lot of good flex play. Like, if you want to see sort of a lot of people taking a lot of different roles and really highlighting the adaptability of this team, go ahead and watch that VOD. For Breakthrough versus Toxic Storm, there's actually going to be a highlight of Great One Sombra. So it's sort of like come back, like Great One Sombra was really, really good on that game. Hey, I see you there in chat. Great One. And then, of course, for Night Ops and Ant, that one was very much like a really, really big game to watch, because Night Ops, their off-tank play and their support play was really, really good. And then for Ant, of course, their tank play has always been stellar. Their DPS play has always been stellar. And we really do get to see a lot of teams with different strengths really see and try to take advantage over each other. That was a really good game as well.
For sure, yeah. I definitely sort of echo your sentiments on Ant's sort of side of things. Their tank play has been really kind of a pinnacle to their success, really. It's definitely really enjoyable. I guess I kind of enjoy watching tanks a little bit more from their perspective, because they're kind of on the forefront of the battle and kind of expected to kind of make these plays with these kind of earth shatters and getting good grabs off and everything like that. And that's just something that Ant have done really successfully over the past sort of few games that they've had. Is they've shown us exactly how well they can use their ultimates in an effective manner and not overused to kind of kind of get these wins in the team fights that they need to.
Right. And Pups, I want to actually ask you a question here. And fun fact, I can finally have like a high SR opinion here, right? Because Pups is masters. And that's and that's I know this is like a very much of like a reductionist statement when I ask this, but like in terms of having stellar support play in a team, stellar tank play, or stellar DPS play, if you were a team coach, which one would you prioritize? If you wanted to carry games, would it be that tank play?
It's a tough question. I definitely think in terms of like if you're looking at purely for an ultimate sort of kind of point of view, then your grabs and your shatters are going to be the ones that are actually going to make the differences, and you're going to play around a lot more. So that requires a lot of coordination from not only the tanks, but also, as we saw with the UK, who managed to pull off these sort of stun, shatters so very, very well, and how effective they can be against even some of the best teams in the world, you know. Those kind of sorry to kind of bring that up again, I like it, but it's a good way of kind of
no, it's
really
a great.
kind of
I love the
and,
team spirit. I love it.
and showing your kind of your you know. I've kind of lost my train of thought here, but yes, it's a good way of showing how effective you can be with just like a couple of small abilities and using kind of those big abilities that someone like a Reinhardt or a Zaya would be able to bring to the table. So I'd say definitely in terms of like who you want to kind of shine, it's definitely the tanks. I think as much as I'm a DPS player myself and I enjoy playing DPS, and I think that a solid DPS can bring out definitely carry the game, you know, but again it's down to kind of those real exceptional plays, whereas you're looking at sort of tank plays where they're kind of just looking for very clinical sort of moves where they're kind of aiming for their backline maybe with a grav and kind of picking up those supports and making sure they are able to you know get off any support ultimates to kind of pretend to sort of mitigate any issues that you have. So it's a very much it's more behind kind of a psychological aspect of it as well, and the kind of the way that they sort of think. So I think definitely Ryan, Zaya, and all those sort of heroes that have got those big ultimates, I'd be looking to sort of make those big plays for sure. So, what about yourself? How would you feel?
Well, as a off support for MC, I have to say, like, I have to give my support team like a little bit of credit here. I think good support play is paramount to being able to in many ways like compensate for maybe a bit of like, I don't want to say team mistakes, but it's a way to compensate for in ways that your team might be lacking, you know. And I feel like you saw that a lot in the Artificial Sky Scorched finals of season 1, you know, like we just saw like Swalama's play on Anubis is something I'm still never gonna forget. Like, go rewatch that VOD, just go see where he's been at, right? In the Lightbringers Mercury Cougars game week 1, you know, just like Cypher's support play was really, really good, you know, and very much, you know, took Lightbringers to a clean 4-0. And over here, you know, I feel like, you know, with the recent buff to Nano, and with you know, like Brig being such a big part of almost she's almost like what I would consider like the diva of supports, where she's kind of a little bit good at everything, right? And so you can kind of like slot her into almost any comp, and you know, she can just it almost feels like she can just exist and get value, you know. And then and then of course, you know, like allowing your team to make space, she does like a little bit of making space, a little bit of dealing damage, and a whole lot of healing and armor. So I very much love it. So I will have to say, like, good support play really enables your team to be able to do what they do and really elevate their game.
Yeah, I completely understand that. Yeah, and I think that it's definitely with the kind of big ultimates that you kind of seen in stuff like the Overwatch World Cup and the Overwatch League. You know, you kind of see how effective something like a good Brig or a good Zenyatta can really be in the likes of Jonak, Boombox, anyone that kind of like can get those sort of ultimates up sort of quick up and running. It's really, really useful, and I think that's definitely like you say, enables your team to kind of to push in and make those sort of better moves. Anyway, so we digress a bit. Week 2 results, obviously there they are. So it's a sort of really, really good second week, really successful, really happy with the way it's sort of going. Definitely interesting results. Some of them we didn't obviously expect, like we said, but we will move on to some of the fixtures coming up, which is of next week. And here we go.
At least both Puppy and I can agree that, like, I think support play is the best. Puppy thinks tank play is best. DPS, we don't need you. I mean, you know, we just go sit up, just tanks and supports. DPS,
I think that's kind of a real kind of shine of like a light on the sort of the current meta and how, you know, it's very much revolves around kind of those tanks and supports at the moment. So yeah, I think it definitely kind of reflects that really. So yes, week 3 matchups. Moving on to that, Breakthrough versus Skyhounds, Toxic Storm versus Mercury Cougars, Lightbringers versus Alpine Wolves. And then, You've got the last three, buddy?
Yeah, we got Night Ops over Nova. So I'm just reading Twitch chat. I can't stop laughing. Night Ops versus Nova, Seven Sins versus Single Woman in Your Area, and Mount Esports over on Action News Team. The colors don't represent predictions of any sorts. I just wanted a bit of contrast in the graphic design. This is gonna be a really fun week. I'm particularly really looking forward to the Toxic Storm Mercury Cougars game. Toxic Storm. They've been just just meteor striking their opponents one by one, and finally they're going to be coming up against Mercury Cougars. And I mean, I'm feeling good about this one. I'm feeling good about this one, pups. The Lightbringers was Alpine Wolves game. Both of them right now are within the top half of their division. So that's going to be one of the games to watch, in my opinion. And I'm really excited for Seven Sins versus Suya. Just because I always really like watching Single Woman in Your Area play. Just because they're entertaining. They're a fun team to watch.
You never really know with that, especially from the sort of first game I watched them play against Mild Esports. It was really interesting how each fight was very not just even slightly different, but the kind of difference in the way they approached their fights was and kind of showing their sort of adaptation was interesting, definitely, for sure. So I'm looking forward to that one as well. I'd agree with you there.
Right.
As long as I can stay up late for it, because it's
yeah,
for me
right.
normally. So but yes. We've got Alpine Wolves as well versus Lightbringers. That should be a really interesting one. With
That's
the
gonna
way
be
that,
a really fun game. I'm really excited to watch that. I felt that I felt in the past that Lightbringers really relies on its DPS a little bit just to pop off. I feel like that hasn't, or I feel like that has been the case in maybe some of the scrims that we've played against them before, but to have them clash against Alpine Wolves' tank line and support line is going to be something I'm really excited to watch.
Definitely.
That's just going to be good Overwatch, and all of these teams have so much to offer. And speaking of which, I actually went through the role selection queue on the official Overwatch Pretenders Discord. If you aren't on it, go join it. And there were actually quite a few roster changes in the past week. Do you think I could go down a list real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so first things first, since last week, these are the changes. Dondi, he's not on Mild Esports anymore. He's now on Alpine Wolves. Skyhounds picked up Golgi, Rhombus, and Smile as tank support, respectively. And we saw them play, in the game against Lightbringers. And so I have a couple of questions for actually Dazzy, who's going to be, on later on, just how that team synergy is going on. Saber no longer is a coach for Nova. SD Ninja 39 is no longer on Night Ops, but Jar is. They picked up Jar. Mild Esports found their sixth player in Moe, M-O-E. Elk is over on Alpine Wolves. Serenity Fira is on Seven Sins, or just got picked up by Seven Sins as support. And I Am Jesus no longer is a coach for Mild Esports. So there's been a pretty big shakedown. I'm particularly looking over at the Elk pick, from Alpine Wolves. I think Elk's going to be a fantastic addition to the team, as flex. And to my knowledge, you're in the Twitch chat. I want to say, Elk, that you were flex and you played a good amount of tank, but if I'm wrong, please correct me. As well as Serenity Fear over to Seven Sins. And I mean, hey, they might be a starter in a Seven Sins Mild Esports game today. So lots of good stuff coming out. Mice just let me know that they couldn't get Elk. Never mind. I am wrong. In that case, hey teams, you're looking for a good player? I'm gonna market my main man Elk.
Definitely, especially in this sort of meta, I think at the moment, those kind of flex players are really kind of crucial to have as part of your team, to be able to kind of flex into those roles that just kind of allow you to kind of have that ability to like your seagulls of the team that will pick up any hero and kind of run with it really and kind of shine on anything. Yeah, it's kind of it's definitely a useful person to have on your team. But to go back to Alpine Wars vs Lightbringers, the one thing that I'm really,
Sure.
really looking forward to as well is the fact that obviously both of them have had 2 weeks of really, really good successful results. Both actually, their map differential is exactly the same. So they've took a Lightbringers, even though it doesn't say it on the website, took a 3-1 over who is it?
Over Skyhounds.
Skyhounds. So they're currently sitting at a map differential of +6, as well as the Alpine Wolves, who are also sitting at the same as well. So yeah, definitely, if the kind of the league is anything to go by, which I'm pretty sure it is, then it'll be interesting to see exactly how those two sort of butt heads and go at it. It'd be interesting to see. So yeah,
Right.
awesome.
I'm really excited for the Night Ops game. The Night Ops Nova game also is something I really want to see, because I want to see Jara play. I want to see this this new DPS pickup, and I know that Night Ops definitely takes his DPS really, really seriously, and I'm really excited to see Jara play, and like really filling in that slot. But yeah, well. Enough about theory crafting. Let us know, who you think is going to win over in Twitch chat. We'll read a couple comments if you'd like, and let's get into a couple of highlights from this past week. Puppy, what you got for us?
So we are going to be kind of joined by Moshi Man to go through the highlights that we've got going on right now. So Moshi, if you're listening, then hop on into the chat and we will get this thing rolling.
Yeah.
In a second.
And I really hope he's here. Yes.
Oh my lord, it's.
Are we
Is it
broken?
working? Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see it though.
All right. Let me figure this out. I'm supposed to have a video. I don't use the webcam on this very often, I must admit.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
That's weird.
Okay.
We can
Well,
make do whilst we are at the moment, so that's fine. Right. So, how are things been going for you? How are you enjoying
Yeah.
kind of doing some of the
how are things?
Good. I mean, as far as like being in the league goes and everything.
Yeah, sure. Just,
Yeah. Well, I was part of Toxic Storm,
mhm.
and last year, like after season 1, I had to leave because I have made a commitment to school, right? Like
Mhm.
I had to go back to
Your
school. And I relinquished my role as tank, like main off tank on that team, and then now I just kind of do casting and try to do it where I can. I don't get too many opportunities, but between work and class and Overwatch, I have my days are full.
Wow, certainly a really, really busy life, it seems like. And of course, in that case, thank you for taking the time to, appear on the podcast. I wanted to talk a little bit about what it's like being a caster and sort of like the unique challenges of it.
Mhm.
And if you've been sort of watching the games, what your own personal highlights were, I don't know, just tell us what's on your mind. We're having a conversation.
Right, yeah. Well, as far as being a caster, I just started when kind of Overwatch Pretenders started, because
Mhm.
I was like, hey, this sounds like a really fun idea and something I could get into. I have taken like voice acting training lessons before. Like I wanted to do that for a little while.
Oh, wow.
And so yeah, so like this is one way to just use my voice and kind of, I'm not really into that right now because, like I said, I'm kind of busy.
Right.
But I have this, and I do it casually. And as far as casting, I mean, it's fun, and I'm still learning a lot because I've only casted, I don't know, maybe 5 games for Overwatch Pretenders, but every time I do it, it's really fun, and that's great, right? Like no matter who it's with, it's always a new experience.
I wanted to talk a little bit about about sort of like the back and forth you're expected to have with casters, especially if you have, someone with you. I had the privilege of casting with you over on season 1 finals. That was something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And and I wanted to ask how, like, what sort of preparation do you do before a game? And what conversations do you have with your just with your co-casters? What conversations do you have with really like the teams? How do you, I don't know. I guess, like, tell us what it's like, sort of like the hours leading up to a game.
Sure. I mean, it depends on how much time I have beforehand. Most of the time when I'm coming to cast, I'm coming straight from work. So I usually work till 8 on Fridays and Saturdays. So I don't have a ton of time to do research and prepare. But I do, I do know a fair amount about the teams already here, right? So I kind of keep track of things just during just all the time as much as I can, because I know I'm not going to be able to go in real deep and do a lot of research. And then, right before the game, I try to see, do you want to be the play-by-play caster? Do you want me to be the analyst caster? I can be flexible that way, as I'm still kind of trying to learn my roles, so to speak.
Right.
And there's basic things like, is our sound test good? Everything to make it a quality production, right? So that kind of stuff too.
Right, of
Yeah.
course. Talk to me about the different roles that casters can occupy. You said that there was like the play-by-play. You said that there was the analyst. Are there any other distinct roles that casters have?
I think those are the two most obvious roles. But definitely you can be flexible, and it's not like a hard line, right? So
right.
if I'm in the middle of analyzing something, but something really crazy happens, the other caster can jump in or something, and then there's definitely what's that?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's definitely like a lot of post-game analysis that can go on too. So not necessarily shoutcasting or casting during the game, but the cameraman also makes a big difference, right? Whoever's doing the camera, it's hard to line those up sometimes with who's doing the camera and casting your own, talking about things happening. So you have to watch the kill feed, etc., etc. Yeah.
Okay.
And kind of I guess a big part of that is kind of understanding who's got those kind of that win condition. What is the team's win condition, and who should I focus on? It's definitely that has got quite a difficult job in itself to be able to do that. So yeah, I agree with you there that it's a very big role to play, and I definitely sort of kudos to anybody who does take that job on board. So
yeah,
I think we've got some. It's kind of a little bit of a couple of technical issues, but I managed to figure them out, so we can crack on with some plays now. So if you guys are happy, we can run straight through.
We're gonna go over some clips with you guys, right?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yep,
So yeah,
yep.
just try and figure this out. So we tried to kind of like we're trying to incorporate everybody into kind of the plays sort of part of things after some feedback. Actually, you gave us some very kind feedback as well last week, Moshi, and we're kind of trying to include more people into this. So please make sure that you do submit your plays to us, and we will try and get them as much as we possibly can.
Yeah,
so
and also record VODs. Do me a favor and record VODs. I like looking back into them and being like, hey, here's some cool stuff.
And if you can't, then get your coaches to do it. That's definitely because they can provide a different perspective as well. So if the game's not being casted, then or sort of streamed, then it's definitely useful for us to kind of get a perspective from everybody, and we need that from you guys to make sure that you guys get kind of fair time on the podcast.
Right.
As well.
So this first clip, we're actually gonna play a game here. So this first game, it's from Night Ops versus Ant. And Moshi, what I'm gonna ask you to do is that as this play pans out, I want you to live cast it for us, and you tell me the things you're watching out for. Does that sound good?
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think there might be a bit of a delay, but that's fine.
Okay, all right. And
We'll go with it.
all right,
It's a
and
bit
then
of
here
a-
goes.
bit
We
of
can
a
talk
lead,
about it later.
There definitely is, yeah, a massive delay. But yeah,
So we're live on my screen now.
okay, yeah, we're a little bit
Looks like
behind
we got
there,
a
so it
big
might-
shatter here from Reinhardt. He misses the charge, but maybe he didn't want to overextend there. Got Diva eaten there. He gets bounced out of the way, getting pummeled by Winston here. Gets bubbled in an attempt to save him. Charges again. Looks like he just gets goatsed on by the enemy team here. Just walked in, and then here's the big grab.
absolutely huge grab. Actually managed to catch quite a few of them into that as well.
Yeah, there was a. What I really noticed was that there were a lot of ults being thrown out. You know, like we saw a lot of we saw transcendences from both sides coming out. If you listen to like the actual like recording, and like that's it, like that's the clip. We see like
Right.
the primal rage coming out. Like we see a total of around like 9 ults coming out that fight. And
Wow.
I mean, hey, yeah. And something I really liked was that on Ant's dive, is that even though I felt they were a little late on the dive, like the tank started brawling and then they dove in, it's their commitment to whatever plan they have going that's very often their strength. And that's something I've always liked. Like we even see that like EMP and like each team is just going all in, but I really feel like, you know, like Ant is very much, you know, like 6 people controlled by one person. And I've always, you know, like very much seen that. I wanted to ask, you know, just sort of looking at this clip immediately after this team fight, a lot of ultimates happened. Obviously Pixar changes in hero selection is going to be a thing. What things are you immediately looking out for post team fight?
Well, I always want to look to see how many numbers, you know, how many numbers, like how big of a difference there was that, sorry, I don't know why I'm not being clear on this, but the difference between the number of, how many ults they used and the number of players left after the fight. That's what I'm going for there.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's like a big roll in, right? So you know you got six all of one team lived and one of the other team is totally gone. Then you know it's just a roll and something maybe went wrong with their communication on the team that lost, or you know it was unexpected. Something is wrong because most of the time fights are pretty close. Like you can see here, it's like 5 versus 2 kind of at the end. It kind of looked like that was a desperation graviton because they only had 3 people left on the point.
Right.
Like you have that kind of thing. So another thing is, like I said, all of the alts that are used. So if you look at how efficiently the alts are combined, that's going to make a massive difference. And that's really something you can extrapolate on when you are casting. You can say, oh, look, they only used, you know, Barrage from Pharah and Graviton from Zarya, and they have 3 alts left. So
Right.
they're probably not going to be able to be stopped unless the opposing team commits hardcore to stopping them, you know. So it puts the opponent obviously in an awkward position. So it can snowball from there. And I think that's why you see so many 3-1s and 4-0s. And it's I think Overwatch is really a snowball oriented game.
I see.
Because you have those ultimate abilities that are so impactful.
Right.
Especially if the enemy team is being so sort of conservative with their ults and kind of only using what they need to win as well, it can be really hard to stem that bleeding from happening. Really, can't it? It's like if you're behind in the first place after the first and second fight, then it's really difficult.
Hey!
There we go.
How's it going? There's
How's
it going?
You fixed it.
I got my camera going when I have 5 minutes left.
Nice. Yes.
And so
Sorry,
while we're
Adam.
queuing this next clip, Puppy, I want to ask you a question. You know, immediately after a team fight, I want to ask, and this is something I, you know, also struggle with a caster, the balance of immediately analyzing in the middle of a game what went wrong or right in the past, and then focusing on the future. And you know, like you very much have to have sort of like this like 2-train mindset. So I want to ask you, Pups. in those higher SR games, what immediately are you thinking after a really big team fight like that? Like how do you prepare? Like from like a player perspective.
I think it's hard to prepare for anything really. I mean, obviously, like it's to kind of regain that that kind of advantage again. You have to be really clinical with your dives if you're playing a particular dive comp, or if you're playing in a particular way that you can get onto their backline and kind of force out those kind of ultimates that you want to get rid of to kind of enable you to get your win condition off, whether that's a grab, so you want to dive on this, or Zens, or get rid of the Lucios as quickly as you can. So definitely kind of being able to kind of identify what your win condition is and kind of what you need to do to enable that if you know that the enemy team has those ults. So ult tracking is a massive part of that. So if you've got someone on your team that's really good at that, definitely give them a pat on the back, because they have a massive job in kind of being able to kind of get yourself back into the swing of things in terms of the next few fights. Definitely, yeah. Ult tracking and knowing your win condition are probably my two sort of things to say on that.
And that's actually going to be a really big topic on this next play, right? What you got for us, dude?
So this is the Alpine Wolves versus Mercury Cougars clip, week 2.
Yeah.
We were expecting, hopefully. Sweet. It's actually K Boogie, one of my good friends from Mercury Cougars.
Yep, one of my teammates. And same thing, Moshi. Here's going to be a clip. You tell me what you see.
All right, I won't try to live cast it this time.
No.
Big grab.
Yeah, there were like 5 people in there.
Well, there's a nice efficient grab dragon along with a purple, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
An nano grenade.
Huge.
Yeah, this very much is like the Mercury Cougar classic, right? It's like you can always count on like K Boogie to have always this like insane Zarya play, and just MC's projectile DPS. They ain't anything to mess with. Like it's really really cool. But sort of on the flip side, and this next highlight makes me laugh so much. Puppy, you know what I'm talking about, right?
No, I don't. Sorry, I hadn't had a chance to sort of look through them. But just a comment on this this play in particular is I like sort of the way that some players sort of exploit these kind of angles that people won't be able to see, and kind of using those kind of line of sights, getting out of their line of sight so they can't initially see you that sort of easy. So they aren't expecting these plays, so it doesn't give your divas enough time to kind of eat these grabs, and don't give the team kind of enough time to kind of set in a way that they won't get completely team wiped from this, because they're all just grouped up and they just can't do anything about it. So,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've definitely stood there before as Zarya. It's a pretty good spot.
Yeah, or in that little mini room as well. That's a good little place. Although I have been caught out a couple of times, and that's a little bit embarrassing when it goes wrong.
Yeah.
So high risk, high reward play, but yeah.
Speaking of that mini room, oh dude, I'm so excited.
Right, this is a clip submitted by I think it's from Felicity's actually. It's sort of point of view of the scrim. Is it scrim or is it the?
No, this is the Alpine Wolves MC game.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this was on Felicity's own stream, but she was streaming the game.
Right.
Or who?
So
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
It just locks the diva inside with her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So okay, so basically, what's going on is that it's just literally just the most brutal stagger I've seen just in my life of Wombo, and I can't explain how bad I feel. And just like while his team was coming back, they finally picked him off, and just of that mini room, I want to sort of ask Puppy this, like, Puppy, tell me the importance of staggers in a game like this and what this meant for this particular push for MC.
It can be massive, especially to just run down the clock, because we all know how long it sort of takes. It's a good 30 seconds off the clock, and the more time that you take off of that and stagger someone is time that you're adding to kind of reducing them from having the advantage to get back and kind of attack more times, if you know what I mean. So it could mean the difference between sort of getting back onto point with 10 seconds to go or not, so definitely like you won't see the initial benefits like there and then, but obviously it gives you a bit of a breather obviously after this. But aside from that, you'll see the real benefits towards the end when it kind of reduces the amount of attacks that you get out of the game as well.
I think it has to be said that there's a reason that so many abilities were devoted to staggering Wombo in particular, and that's because he is an incredible, like, both hit scan and projectile DPS. Like, he's been one of Mercury Hoover's finest pickups here in the offseason. And I'm really excited to see his play, like, for sure. Obviously I play with him a bunch, and he always clutches it out when when required. So he's been just excellent as well.
Yes.
But yeah.
So we have
that was quite the stagger. I mean, they had all this time to use their abilities because the rest of the team is not coming back for a while. So.
Right.
I think he actually used hookshot as well, like to try and get out, but gets boot back from the diva as well. Just like hookshot straight into the wall. So it's just like at that point you're like, I'm fucked. That is my only movement ability to get away, and it's gone. So yeah, poor guy.
Yeah. You saw that a lot in the breakthrough toxic shot game as well. Just like Great One Sombra was just so debilitating to breakthrough, and oh gosh, I'm just gonna ask him, like, hey, if you're over in Twitch chat, like, I want to let you know, first of all, good job. Second of all, I just wanted to ask how just like what did it feel like? Just like what did it feel like always? Because I feel like Sombra's bread and butter is very much just like going in the back line, just putting. I've always seen hack as almost like a pseudo Discord, as in like similar to how a Discord is on like someone in the back line and they go and dive it. You also dive that same hack target because the movement abilities aren't there. And I want to ask, just like really, just like how did it feel? Just inhibiting, like that one push by breakthrough on Bimbani. Just with that classic EMP and the high noon combo, that was a really, really cool play. But I also want to ask, like, Puppy, you play a good amount of Sombra. What is your main priority as a Sombra? Like, is it in many ways to hack like the backline and the supports? Is it to hack the front line and the shields?
So it completely depends on what comp you're. It completely depends on your comp that you're running. So if you're running a very kind of like a divey sort of comp, or maybe even just like a couple of heroes that are able to kind of just assassinate someone in the back line, so like a Genji that can dash into the back and then just dash back out, or you're kind of Doomfist that can just jump in with a few abilities and be able to take someone out as well. Working in tandem with them, I would say that you're looking to kind of get rid of the back line. If you've got someone who's like maybe you're running a bit more of a Rhine Zaya comp and you're looking to kind of get those big shatters off, then definitely looking to hack the Rhine or the Diva respectively. Obviously, if you're using a shatter or a Grav, then yeah, definitely those frontline targets are probably the better option to go for, in my opinion. If you're just running kind of like a Sombra as a bit more of a kind of distraction tactic, which we have seen a couple of times, just being able to build up these EMPs, just working on her own almost, and kind of just putting the pressure on the back line so they're constantly looking over their shoulder. It just that kind of like a way affecting the game and affecting the players who are playing those sort of heroes that are a little bit more squishy. It's definitely mentally exhausting. So yeah, it can be a real tilting factor as well.
Yeah.
Which
Actually, do we have that clip?
We do have a Sombra play coming up now, so yeah.
Great.
You have a Sombra clip of Great One, or?
Yeah, we have a Sombra of Great One, yeah.
Dope.
Big hacks.
Hi, Rick. Everyone say hello to our great mods in chat.
Ask him to change the title of the stream.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So we have that EMP and we have Ite coming up, and that's actually going to be a double over on the Reinhardt and someone else. This was from Beal's perspective, and they did, and this was the round ending push. It was just like 10 seconds left to spare. And yeah, so that was just one of many examples. There were a lot of moments where, just watching the breakthrough VOD, you would see someone be like, okay, yo, just wait, I'm hacked. And then, you get knocked down like 6 seconds off the clock just because of that. And Great One was just really good. Fried rice cup. I Is that not how you say it? Is it not AITE?
No, I'll let you know. It's 80.
It's 80. I'm gonna say it's
Yeah.
I. No,
Yeah,
I'm just
dude,
kidding,
it's 80.
We get a lot of that
80,
in
my
puns. Yeah. So you didn't actually manage to catch the Anna here. It's just really interesting. So obviously she's able to pick off the to throw down an anti-nade onto Zaya and kind of keep her up and alive, which is
Right.
at the end of the day is obviously not enough to kind of stem the bleeding or anything like that. But you know, just having that you know, EMP and forcing out abilities like your biotic grenade and stuff like that is definitely huge when you're running into sort of last fight and stuff like that. So, yeah,
Right.
really good
Right.
play
No, of
from-
course.
really
And
good
that
play
about
from
wraps it up for highlights, right? I don't think we have any more.
We don't know.
Okay, all right. Well, in that case, you know, we do have a couple minutes before our next interview in Dazzy, but in the meanwhile, Moshi, thank you so much for being with us. Hit us with some plugs, you know, right now. Roll out the red carpet, you know. This spot's for
Okay.
you. Yeah.
All right, yeah. I'm not really on social media. I don't have a real presence here, but you can find my YouTube channel, which has a bunch of really lame videos on it at Moshi Moshi Man.
Moshi,
And
man.
that's
Okay.
on YouTube. And then we got me here. Twitch is Moshi Moshi Man, no
Mhm.
spaces. And then I'm not on Twitter. I'm not really on, you know, Facebook as a social entity. So I'm here dedicated to the Overwatch Pretenders podcast and the Overwatch Pretenders casting,
Right.
you know, people. So I'm just here to be part of the community and help where I can. And you know, I like playing Overwatch, and you know, great. I was good to be here, and
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks
I'll
for
talk to you
being here,
guys later, I imagine.
of course. Thank you for your time.
Yep, thanks. Maybe I don't know how can I close my video.
Do you want me to kick you?
I got.
All right, sorry, that was funny. Anyway, Dazzy's right now just preparing real quick to talk a little bit about Skyhounds. Skyhounds have been a little sort of almost like going like up and down a lot. Oh, I'm split between two screens. Hello.
So we're good. Yeah, I was expecting to go back to the previous screen beforehand. So yeah, apologies for that.
But yeah, so I'm really excited to hear you know, Dazzy talk a lot about like team synergy, sort of like where their team's going. I thought that there was like a bit of a coaching drought going on with that team. I'm a little unsure about that. Pups, I wanted to ask, you're an assistant coach now for MC. What's it like?
Yes.
What's it like sort of transitioning from player to a coach? Talk to me a little about that.
Well, I mean, I can't really sort of say too much because literally it's only just gone through, so I haven't really had much of an opportunity to kind of experience too much in that sort of sense. Fortunately, like I'm getting to learn from who I consider to be the best. I might be biased, but I think Cher has been sort of a real pinnacle in sort of a lot of Mercury Cougar's success. So learning from her is definitely something that is going to be really, really interesting and enjoyable. She takes you know, a lot of the pressure off of the guys to kind of like try and figure it out for themselves. So just having that kind of like voice of reason and knowledge behind you is really useful to have. So I'm definitely looking to kind of like gain a lot of experience between now and obviously leaving in December to kind of like further my knowledge on how to best coach obviously everybody in the team and everything like that. But as it stands, yeah, I'm literally just a couple of odd reviews and stuff like that is my experience so far. So I can't really comment too much on that really. Yeah, bear with me.
But okay, fair enough. Well, you know, if anyone's listening who's sort of above, you know, masters and above, and who is considering coaching, Pups, do you recommend it?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Definitely.
it's still really, really enjoyable, and like I enjoy spending time with the guys that are in sort of Mercury Cougars and the rest of the sort of Overwatch Pretenders. If anybody does want me to kind of give them some pointers or in any sort of way you feel that they want that, I'm more than happy to do that because I'm looking to go and get that experience. So it'd be interesting to kind of do. So yeah, definitely if you're interested in becoming a coach and you kind of got that knowledge of the game, and do you know what, you don't even have to, I don't think you even have to be above sort of masters or anything like that to become a coach. You can have, I mean, you look at something like the best sort of like Premier League football, and I know you guys don't sort of not probably watch soccer as much over there as we do over here in England, but you look at a lot of the sort of coaches over here, and they're kind of like not as good as the game as obviously the rest of the team is, but they are still, you know, considered to have like a good knowledge of the game. So even if you do have like a good knowledge of the game and feel like you can give that a crack, then it's definitely worth giving it a go, because there's a lot of support network around it as well, so to help you get better. So definitely, if you're interested, give it a crack.
Great. Well, I mean, there's your professional level endorsement. Be a coach. You know, coaching's fun. It's really rewarding, I'm sure. I used to actually coach my own my own soccer team myself, so I know what it's like. And really seeing people grow, it's always really rewarding. I know it's nothing like Overwatch, but it is a lot like football. So, let's come back into focus. Hey, come on, let's come back into focus. Whatever, we'll figure it out. We got Dazzy, you know, here with us now from Skyhounds to talk a little bit about how, you know, Skyhounds is doing. Dazzy, come on in.
Hello?
Hey,
Dazzy.
how's it going?
Oh, I have to look here, not the stream. This is different. Okay, there we go.
Honestly, it's okay. You know, I have two monitors. I'm looking at the screen
Yeah, so do
all
I.
the time. Yeah.
I fixed that. What's good?
Hey, how's it going, dude?
Good.
How's life been?
It's been good, I guess.
I feel like that's a weird question to ask because I don't exactly know you, but like, I mean, hey, you know, now's a good opportunity. Oh man, we're broken. Hi. And I just want to talk a little about like sort of, you know, like where your team's at, you know.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
You guys had a lot of different pickups, so let's just start. Tell me a little bit about your team, where you guys are at.
So, here's the thing. I'm gonna give some background. So I moved to America in August, and so I decided to go to like I look for like a team that I can improve on, and get better, so I can, you know, just get better at the game. And I found OWP, and so I had a friend who tried out for Skyhounds, who was going to try out as support, but he couldn't. So he said, "Okay, you should go." And I'm like, "Okay." So I did. I got in. I was the newest member.
Congratulations.
1 week later, our coach left.
Oh,
Is that Frost?
Because, yeah, but he left because he was about to open the division team. I don't blame him. And then, without central leadership, it kind of crumbled because we were trying to give each other feedback, but it kind of evolved into your shit, no, your shit, no, your shit.
Oh dear.
And then everyone, like, not everyone, like, we had like this major call, and we were like, okay, they called everyone, and they're like, so are you staying? Are you leaving? What is it? And they asked me, and I was like, oh, I'm staying because, like, you know, even though I'm the newest player, I can't leave because I'm support, and support has to support the team as well. And it's really shit if you just leave, you know. Like, in my opinion, I would feel really bad. So it's ironic because three-fourths of everyone that call said yes, and then they all ended up leaving a week later. But it's not because they're done. It's mostly was personal reasons. So work conflict, etc. So I don't blame them. And so we had no coach, and then Rick contacted me, said, "You're team rep now." I was like, I didn't even know what team rep was.
Right.
So that I was taking care of scrims and everything because of RSW left. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll pull this team together. We got a coach, and we finally did tryouts last week. We got absolutely smashed in our first scrim, but that's fine. We managed to get a map off Lightbringers, which is, we didn't want the 3-1, we wanted to win, but considering it's our first game together, it wasn't too bad. And yeah, that's where we at. We still have some conflict because without getting too, not explicit, but like not leaking too much stuff, since our coach is brand new, it's still really hard for him to adjust and some people to adjust with him.
Right.
Different styles and everything like that is definitely
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. I'm really excited because a lot of new pickups and a lot of like bringing new talent. It means that you can now sort of almost build yourselves up from the ground up again and saying like, hey, now we have the opportunity to be the team we want to be, right? And I feel like that sort of mentality of like, hey, I'm support, I need to stick with my team and I'm not going to let it go. That's a mentality that's going to carry you really, really far. Yeah. And like,
stroking my ego.
As a support myself, like my heart's touched. Like that's, I mean, if every team could have that mentality of like, hey, like we got to stick together. We got to make sure we're supporting our teams to the best of our capabilities. Wouldn't the entire world just be a better place?
For me, it was like more of a case. There was RSW, Frost, and Ikari. And even though none of them are with us now, they're not dead, but they left the team.
Thanks for clarifying that.
They're not dead. They still worked so hard to create the team. They just worked so hard in the first and second seasons. And even though there was a real possibility of the team disbanding, there was. I admit it.
Right.
But we didn't because that would. At least I didn't agree on disbanding it because that's a waste of all their hard work, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, we're gonna do shit this season, that's fine. We have a brand new team, it's fine. We're gonna win next season, it's fine. The whole thing.
I mean, I wouldn't bury you guys, just yet. I was really impressed with like a lot of the new tank play that was coming out, and
our tanks are really good.
And
I really like them.
And
they're actually really good.
Yeah, they are. And Puppy was the one who's like, hey, it's tank play that's going to define games. And honestly, I'm really looking forward to this really, really big redemption story. That's for sure.
Yeah, right now what we're trying to do is I'm trying to build synergy with my other support because I've never played with this guy before.
Right.
Remind us who your other support is?
I think he's called Smile because I remember his battle tag was different. I remember his battle tag from his Discord name was different.
Smile.
Yeah, and he's a good support. Don't get me wrong, but it's just that
synergy's not.
We played our first game against a team that was a Masters team. That was practicing together for 6 months. Of course, he got destroyed.
Right.
That's how you learn.
Yeah,
so they exploit your weaknesses, and you learn from that, and you kind of get better.
Yeah.
So.
But now we're just trying to get other members. We're trying to get not subs, but like people that you can rotate with. We had some people sometimes have I remember last game David, who is our DPS.
David's a really good flex as well.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but he couldn't play the last game. He couldn't he did, but his mic was off, and he's like, "Oh, I only play if I really have to," because we had no one to fill. And even though he played well that game, it would be better if he didn't have the added pressure of he has to play, he has to. So that's why, at least I want to get other players.
Right. So I mean, hey, you hear that? 30 people in chat. Skyhounds is recruiting, and you could be on a wouldn't team with people like Dazzy.
You guys could be in
people like Dazzy.
You guys could be in the redemption arc.
You guys could be in the next Avengers arc. That's gonna be it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Well, yeah. I actually have one more question just before you go. I have one more question, and that is, just personally within your own support play, if you could give me a support tip that you want to tell all your other supports that you've learned in the games you've been playing. Like
Adapt.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if we have 3 DPS in our team. It pisses me off too. When everyone has picked, it looks like it's gonna be 2-2-2, and the last person picks a McCree or something. But just adapt. Play to the team, and the other thing is the support has to also support the team mentally. So the first team to tilt loses. That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you calm everyone down when they're fighting, that's fine. That will win you games. That has won me games. That's why I was bronze, because I was really toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Then I stopped being nice and I got a plat.
I think definitely I can understand where you're coming from there, because I know from coming from a sporting background myself how much psychology and like how much
From sports?
sort of yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, me too.
so-
Yeah, it's the exact same thing.
Exactly the same, yeah. If you're in kind of your own head, or you're kind of like not in the mood to kind of like perform, so, and that can come down to a lot of things. I think we had this discussion with Felicity actually, who actually we discussed sort of like the importance of getting like enough sleep and kind of the iceberg effect. You don't know what's going on underneath.
And like
stuff like that.
hydration, right?
Yeah, and it's just like being able to kind of be in that kind of right mindset to kind of go. And if you get pushed out of that mindset, that ability to reset after each map and kind of go, do you know what, actually, we've lost that one map, but that doesn't mean it's over. We can still push through. We can still.
That's the
win this.
mentality that pros have in everything. If you, I love football and I watch football games all the time. They never okay, sometimes they do, but they never fight with each other because they will realize it's stupid.
Yeah.
You know, it's in football. It's different because it's 11 versus 11, so it's harder to control. But if a situation is going badly, usually you have the captain or someone to calm everything down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kind of try to take that role when it comes to Overwatch, which is we got absolutely shot on first map. That's fine. Easy win next map. Easy.
Reset, yeah. Mentally reset. We got it's a different game. It's almost like a different way. Get back on it, Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't work, but it's fine.
Good. Well, thank you very much for coming.
All right.
Yeah, it's been really,
Thank
good
you.
to have you on. Have you got anything that you'd like to say in terms of like plug? This is your opportunity. Like,
Oh yeah,
plug
of
guys'
course.
stuff,
This-
plug your
keep
stuff, plug your shit.
Win season 2, right?
Win season 2.
Keep the seat warm because season 3 we're taking it. We're taking it 100%.
All right.
I like that. I like that. Fighting.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks much, Dazzy. Take
Peace.
care.
Boom. We back. All right, so
Boom.
we've
Hey.
got one more interview to do, which is Noir, who is
Yeah, right now I'm just trying to get a hold of them. Noir, maybe if we all yell enough. No, I'm now deaf. You have now just inhibited Mercury Cougars that their off support is now deaf. Congratulations.
We haven't heard from Noir in a bit, actually, so I'm wondering if he's actually there. We might have to just kind of move on to kind of our other things that we need to discuss. I think it might be best as they aren't coming back to us.
Yeah,
Let's waste
sure.
no time. Let's move on. So, one of the most recent events, obviously, after we finished the podcast last week, we did have the Ascenders Cup, which was really, really good. We did actually. I only got to see the finals, unfortunately. I did actually kind of have a little look and kind
The
of see.
finals was the only one that was streamed, so it's okay.
Right, okay.
I'm the same page as you. Yeah.
I didn't realize there wasn't a VOD for the rest of them, or I didn't get to go in and actually sort of watch it with the rest of the guys. So that's there you go. So yeah, definitely some key points that I've sort of brought out from that during the finals, and I don't know. There's one in person in particular that I really felt kind of had a real kind of really shone during the first, especially the first couple of maps. Was Key. Have you heard of Key, the Farah player?
I watched Key's Farah play, but I haven't heard of Key before Ascenders. But tell me more.
Neither have. Neither have I. I'm not too sure exactly where this person has come from, and I don't know if they're in the Overwatch Pretenders League or on the Discord. If you are, forgive me. I haven't sort of had the opportunity to meet you yet, but Key's Farah absolutely dominated the sort of first map, and just the team really kind of showed exactly what can happen if you enable a decent Farah, and you can even just destroy teams really. So yeah, definitely a fantastic first map. I think it was on.
Wasn't it Bunny? No. Time to rewatch that. Oh wait, first map was Oasis. Didn't it follow regular map rotation?
I don't remember.
Well, in any case, enabling a Farah, that's gonna be an easy SR right there, right?
And then moving on to sort of King's Row, the second map, I really felt that Scheutz, I don't know how you say that person's name, sorry, Scheutz and
that's how I
Tiger's
say it well, yeah.
They were really, really good on the second map on King's Row. Definitely like a map that you want your Ryan and your Zaya to kind of really shine, especially since it's so close and it's easier to build up those ults and kind of show off some really big plays if you can get them off. So what about yourself? How did you find it? How did you enjoy it?
Well, for me, I really liked watching my own teammates, that MC core the, oh gosh, what was her name? Diamond Foxes, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just picking up the W there. And honestly, it just goes to show how important team synergy is. Just within a game, it really did feel like a lot of them were on the same page. It was very much like MC with friends. Because like we saw like Cypher on the Ana, really good Ana play. As just as well as all of those players. And my question to you is, really when drafting a team, like suppose we were back 2 weeks and Puppy, you were in the draft, would you prioritize players that had played together with each other or not? Which I know is a really weird question.
Yeah. I think if you're looking for sort of success, then in a sense, because obviously there's success in different ways. There's success in getting better, like and there's success actually in the league, kind of like winning the entire thing. Because I mean, when I was part of Mercury Cougars, we didn't actually sort of manage to get into the kind of the playoffs both years in a row, which is on both seasons in a row, which is unfortunate. And I think that we probably deserved to, despite sort of like some of our performances and stuff like that.
Right.
I think we did kind of get a bit kind of lucky there, but never mind. But yeah, so I think, but even though that happened, I still managed to sort of improve drastically, and I know that a lot of guys around me have drastically improved, and that reflects in their kind of abilities in sort of comp games and everything like that. Because ladder is probably the toughest environment that you can get into in terms of like mentally kind of and also just kind of climbing and getting better and being adaptive, really, because you're not playing with the same people over and over again like you are in team comp. So I do remember
you telling me one time that EU was a lot less toxic than NA. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did. Or there was someone who said that, and
it was I think that the other night you're thinking that it was Chesh that said it the other night that EU was less. Yeah, and then I was saying no, I think NA is less toxic than EU because it's the grass is always greener kind of thing. It's like it's. Yeah, I mean, I come across a lot of people that are particularly toxic in EU, and sometimes it's just like it's a case of just kind of muting them and moving on because there's no real way of sort of getting past that, really. So it's I think it swings and roundabouts. Sometimes you're really just lucky as to who you get, because there's people in the world that are going to be assholes, and there's people in the world that are going to be really nice. So you got to just kind of work with it and just roll with the punches, as it were.
I was telling this in the MC Discord the other day. It's time for me to go over to the Korean servers, say, hey, come play in NA for a game or two, and then bring Korean plats into NA and just play with them, and then easy, because the Korean plats are like diamond here, right? That's how that works. Is that the strategy?
Maybe. if the Overwatch World Cup's anything to go by, then yeah, I'd say so.
Oh, dude, something I'm really excited for, just for the future in terms of Overwatch Pretenders, is the use of that replay system. So I can be like, hey, here's here we have, oh gosh, Mercury Cougars versus Seven Sins or whatever, right? And we could really go into the deep dive. Oh, here's why people did the play they did. I think it's gonna be a really fun tool for coaches and for casters and for reviewers, and more importantly, the podcast. It'll be really cool, and I really hope that's gonna work out.
For sure, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. But in any case, what else we got on the chopping block here? Let's see. Oh yeah, the Halloween showcase. I was talking to Spidey earlier about hey, we absolutely didn't forget a lot of the wonderful art everyone made about
Stop getting distracted by chat.
Sorry. It's too much. They're saying I should dab, and I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Don't dab.
Okay, cool. Never mind. Also, Noir just let me know that they won't be able to make it
That's no problem.
to the podcast today. Sorry, give me 1 second. Yeah, a bit of a personal emergency right there. Give Noir some love. And just sort of, I guess in terms of in many ways, just wrapping up now. We didn't forget about the Halloween art showcase. We're gonna be able to have that, soon. And of course, a big thank you again to everyone for showing the off support of Action News team. Achilles, your support. This past weekend, I know that I know that he really appreciated that. Achilles, you're in chat. I really hope it went well. And yeah, I don't have anything. But Pups, yeah, do you got any last parting words for us?
No. I suppose it's just a case of saying signing off really from me, Puppy. If you hit me up, anything underneath there. So Puppy Plays. I do stream on the occasion. At the moment, it's kind of a little bit as and when. So and Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Just add me, whatever. We'll have a little chat.
Right, and of course, you can find me on Discord. Battlenet at Forebears hashtag 11184. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of a bit of a I'm kind of a bit of a homebody, so I'm not really on social media too much. And yeah, someone just DM'd me that Mild is looking at picking up Jamin, JMINH. So hey, let's start your theory crafting right here and now. That'll be fun. But yeah. So in any case, thank you so much for staying with us. As always, record your VODs, please. Make clips. It helps us a lot. And once again, apologies for the slight delay. Of the podcast. We just started 10 minutes late. That's just because we were just wrapping up making graphics and stuff, and just compiling everything. And yes, we could always use help. So if you have any inkling in being part of this production, it's I'd always really we'd always really appreciate it for sure. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the battlefield.
Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. And yeah, like Forebear said, we'll see you later. You stupid.
Sorry,
Bye.
what?
Mechanically designed destruction, hardwired just to kill. Yeah, carnage is the only function. No, this is not a drill. Stroke it, I'm Nick around. He's taking you down, the last of his kind of bird that is out. He's causing a stuff you all have been born.
Initiate tank mode.